Hi, good day, sir. My name is John Carmel Machan, a freshman from the College of Pascar, and I am from BPO 1A. Today, I will be explaining the theory of the quote unquote nature of performance by Mr. Richard Bauman, a philosopher, and as well as I will be relating it to myself and to my experiences as a performer. So before I start, I just wanted to say I have here the copy of Mr. Bauman's theory, and I will just read it, hoping that I wouldn't miss anything from his theory. So as I go along with Mr. Bauman's theory, um, I will be explaining along the way how are this theory connected, applicable, and related to us as a performer, to me as a performer. So, I will be explaining each of the constitutive one by one, but let us start first with the first constitutive, which is performance competence. Before I proceed, what do we mean by competence? Competence or competent means having the necessary ability, knowledge, or skills to do something. So, the $1 million question is, do you know what you are doing? Do you think you are competent enough? Do you have the ability, the knowledge, or the skills to do such things? So Bowman says here, in all the performance situation, the performer should display performance competence. This is the knowledge and the ability to speak in a social appropriate way. It says here that the performance should be considered acceptable in a group of society. So Bauman's give an example here. A first grader learning to perform the Pledge of Allegiance. Bauman says here because of their young age, tendencies daw nagkakapalit-palit yung word because they do not yet understand what they are saying, what they are talking about. They're not knowledgeable enough because they're still young. Bauman also added here that beyond knowing and understanding the correct words, we should also know the importance of knowing and displaying appropriate attitude and postures in our performance. As what I've learned on my oral communication during my senior high school year, um, being a speaker is the same as being a performer. We have to consider a lot of things, not just the speech that we have to deliver, not just the song, not just the dance, but a lot of things. For example, the way we dress up, our facial expression, our posture during the performance, our audience, our topic, and even the time allotted. Do you think are they compatible? Do you think are they socially appropriate? Do you think are they considered acceptable in the society, in your audience? And to summarize the whole constitutive, Bauman says here that performance competence is an accountability to the audience. The performer directly and indirectly demonstrate that I know the rules of this particular performance. Simple as that. Being a performer, you should be competent. Being a performer, you should know the rules. You shouldn't go to the war without preparing, without bringing your weapon. We should know what we are doing. We should love it and able for us to give the great performance and a satisfaction that our audience deserves from us performers. So we are done with our first constitutive. Now we will proceed to the second one, which is the audience evaluation. How's it going? If the performer assumes the responsibility of displaying competence for an audience, the audience holds the complementary responsibility. The audience evaluates the skill and the effectiveness of the performer. As a performer, we should all know that our audience is the most important factor in our performance. That is why we always have a week long and a month long of practice just to perfect a great performance that we were going to deliver or to showcase in our audience. It says here, applause, standing ovation, and shouts of bravo are the common expression of an audience evaluation in the contemporary West, which is, I think, right. Every performer's dreamed of getting a standing ovation, a big round of applause from a big amount of audience at the last of our performance. It just feels so magical when you imagine it, and every performer's dreamed of experiencing it, even at least for once in our life. And probably our worst nightmare is getting a boo from our audience. Me as a performer, I always have this thought in my mind. What if my audience doesn't like it? What if they can't relate to it? What if what if they just don't like me as a performer? That's why Bauman's added it on his second constitutive that we have to consider the audience evaluation. Let me give you an example. You are a dancer and you were performing in a group of old people and you performed a hip hop routine there. A very, very strong hip hop, powerful routine. Do you think your audience will like it? Because I know for sure that they are not gonna like it. Why? Because they cannot relate to it. It's not their season. The same goes to when you are going to perform in a kindergarten and you performed a rap song with the words, you're delivering the words so fast and it's very deep. Do you think the kids will enjoy it? No, of course, they're not gonna enjoy it. Why? Because they cannot understand it. They cannot cope up to the speed of a rap song. Because they're just kids. The main point of every performance that we are doing is that would our audience like this? Would they relate to it? Can they understand it? Do you think they would enjoy this? Simple as that. More than anyone else, we as a performer should know our audience. We should be familiarized with our audience. Bowman says here that all the performance, the audience has the responsibility to evaluate it, which is right. He also added that in all cases, performers are marked as the subject of audience evaluation. So we are down with our third constitutive, which is the heightened experience. Is this special or not? Bauman's third constitutive elements of performance is that the performance itself, marked as the available for the enhancement of experience through the present enjoyment of the intrinsic qualities of act of expression itself. Do you know that when you go to a job interview, they always ask you this question? Do you have experience? How much experience do you think you have? It goes the same way as being a performer. The more experience you have, the better of a performer you become. Because as what they said, experience is a best teacher. Um, you know what? As a performer, I started from the very bottom. I mean, all of us. I'll say I'm not of a great dancer before, but because of experience and proper practice, I'll say I wouldn't say an I am a great performer, but I'll say I am experienced enough and I will be a great performer someday. So watch out for that. Bowman says here that something special is available in and through performance for performers and audience alike. The specialness is often difficult to describe, but we know it when we experience it. Based on how I understand it, there's this there's this special thing that only us and our audience could understand it. We understand it because we experience it at the same time. If I would relate it to a real life situation, I'll say, how would you know if the ice cream tastes good if you wouldn't taste it? How would you know that dancing is a great experience if you wouldn't experience it yourself? Right? Experience could only answer those questions in your mind. So that's the three constitutive elements of performance from the theory of the quote unquote elements of performance by Mr. Richard Bauman. And I hope that I have explained the idea of his theory and as well as related to me as being a performer. And that's it for now. I'll see you soon. Bye.